if you make 100K and you have a master's degree, you're not just competing with other women that have 100K and a master's degree. You're competing with broke women who are just hot also.
Do you know how much money you have to make in order to be in the top 1% in worldwide terms?
Oh, worldwide.
Yeah.
Stop the video. Stop the video.
No,
Stop the
we're
video.
not-
Stop the video. Okay, ready? Before we finish this, I wanted to ask all the ladies here, if you could put out a number, you are the top percent wage earner. We're going to go with the U.S. first and then the world. If you are a top 1% wage earner in the United States, Paris, how much do you think that person makes?
Billionaire.
Top 1%. You think they make $1 billion a year to put you in the top 1%?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Red, what do you think?
Multi-billionaire?
Income, top 1% income.
Income for the year?
Yeah.
Year annually. Okay. I don't know, 800,000 to $1 million.
800,000. What do you think?
I'm gonna kind of piggyback off of her.
You think it's $1 billion a year?
A year.
Yes.
I said million.
Damn.
$1 million.
Million.
That's a
Something a little like
No.
over a few million,
Okay, all right.
few hundred million.
Brandy, what do you think?
Billion.
$1 billion a year? You guys think it's put you in the top 1%? What is the top 1% in the world? Jessica?
I hate
I don't
money.
know, like 500 million.
500 million a year. Okay, go
Half
ahead.
a billion.
I think like 400, maybe 300.
300 what?
Thousand.
300,000. Okay. Thank you, Alice.
Finally.
For fuck's sake. The answer is about
From
five.
Eastern Europe.
Yeah, the answer is
Sorry,
somewhere
guys.
between like $625 and like $550,000 a year. Put you in the top 1%. Okay, just curious, like what percent? Yeah, here we go. It's a new audience. We might as well do this again. The percentage of American men do you think that make over $100,000 a year? What percentage do you think it is, Paris?
15.
15%. 15% make $100,000 a year, and you think the top 1% makes $1 billion?
Yes.
I'm so confused. Go ahead, Red.
I don't know, 5?
5%. What do you think?
I don't even want to.
$100,000.
$100,000.
Seriously.
Six figures.
Yeah. How much do you think 100,000? What percentage?
Are we just talking about globally or
No,
No,
United
United
States.
States.
United States? I want to say 20.
20%.
Yeah.
I would say maybe 15.
15. What do you think?
Like 35?
35. What do you think?
10.
10. Yeah, the answer is 17. So
Oh,
about
wow.
17%
That was
of
close.
men make 100 grand. So the top 1% is not going to make
$1 billion.
$1 billion. That's pretty funny. All right, so now here's the ultimate question. We're going to be answered in this video. We're going to play it here in a second. Paris, to be in the top 1% in the world, how much money do you think you have to make per year?
Billion.
Huh?
1 billion.
1 billion a year
Yes.
in the top 1% in the world.
Yes.
Understanding we are the wealthiest nation in the world by far.
Every country.
Dubai.
We are far wealthier than Dubai. The GDP of the United States is $24 trillion. The GDP of the Emirates is like not even $2 trillion.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I'm still going for 1 billion.
1 billion. What do you think? What do you think, Tyler?
I would say probably 60K.
60K. What do you think, Red?
I have no idea.
No? For the whole world?
100K.
100K?
Deep thought. I would say maybe 300K.
300K for the whole world. Go ahead.
I think like based off of the last answer and what you just said about the U.S., I'm gonna go with like 500K.
500K. What do you think?
No idea actually.
Okay. Top 1% of the world. Finish playing the video.
Here we go. $8,000 a year?
It's 32. You make $32,000 a year. You're in the top 1%.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Top 1% in the world, you make $32,000 a year. Do you like when you really consider like the amount? We can talk about the delusionality of it, but when you actually consider from a concept. So in 2017, you guys can drink. Dr. Buss wrote an essay.
Drink.
2016, he wrote an essay about how women, because they're outpacing men in education, about 60% of college enrollees are female. What happens is because they outpace them in education, eventually they outpace them in income. And as a woman makes more money, the people that she can choose from if she goes across or up becomes smaller and smaller. Does that make sense? As soon as she gets to 100K, now she only has like this 17% of men to choose from, but they also have to be taller than her, good looking, etc. That number gets smaller and smaller. But the thing is, if you make 100K and you have a master's degree, you're not just competing with other women that have 100K and a master's degree. You're competing with broke women who are just hot also. So you're competing with wealthy women and poor women at the same time. And so now what happens is, this is the discussion I had with Jasmine Jafar. She's like, well, hypergamy is not manifesting because these women are not all dating the guys up at the top. And the reason why they're not is because there aren't that many guys at the top. When you multiply 0.17, which is the number of men that make $100,000 a year, times 0.14, which is the number of men that are over 6 feet tall or taller, that's 2.3% of men. The reason why women are settling, and they're not really settling, they're just actually dating normal men that they probably would be dating otherwise. But the reason why women are settling is because the men that they choose don't exist. There's just not enough of them. And so they end up moving down a couple of spots. And most women find most men to be unattractive. So from their estimation, they are settling. But really, if you were to look at it from a numbers game, it's not the case. If we look at the other side, though, if you're going to say, what are some of the top predictors of why a man would go with no sex? What do you think it would be? A man would go for, let's say, a year with no sex. What do you think one of the top predictors would be?
Can you read?
Well, there's a lot of different demographics. Like it could be height, weight, money, whatever. What do you think of one of the top predictors for why a man would go with no sex for a year? Like no women would want to have sex with him. He's involuntarily celibate. What would cause that?
His age, his appearance.
His age, his appearance. Okay. Red, what do you think?
His stature.
Okay.
You mean status-wise? Like
Yeah,
his
his stats.
social status?
Yeah, and money-wise.
Okay.
I'd say obviously looks or just mindset. Some people could be turned off by the way someone thinks.
Mindset. Okay.
Yeah.
I would say status.
Can you get close to the microphone? So status.
I would say status.
Go ahead.
I feel like maybe just the way that they talk to women.
Talk to women. Okay.
Being overweight.
Being overweight. So so the thing is, from a demographic standpoint, we can't really, the CDC doesn't say, you have a bad attitude, right? The CDC is not measuring whether or not you talk to women nicely. What the CDC can measure are things like being overweight, how tall you are, or how much money you make. And as men have part-time employment or they've been fired and have no employment, the likelihood increases for them to have no sexual partners. Make sense? Because sorry, guys, hypergamy is real. That's it.
Yes.
So we always talk
Once
about
again.
hypergamy on the top end. Hypergamy meaning women usually wanting to move up in their class, marry someone who's better than them, wealthier than them, of a higher socioeconomic class. While we talk about that at the high end, meaning the barista marrying the billionaire, we rarely discuss it at the low end, which is the bottom third or bottom quartile of men that don't have any success with short-term dating. You guys understand? You guys have seen it before. There's the guy, he's like the really nice guy, but like girls aren't calling him in the middle of the night to go hook up with him, right? And then there's the guys who get that, right? But then what happens is when the girl is done hooking up with the guy in the middle of the night, then she settles for the second guy. And that's not fun for the second guy. You guys see how that might not be fun for the second guy? He might not enjoy that. He might not. He's like, oh, you're done with your short-term dating? Now you can start long-term dating with me. Yes. And a lot of times they don't like that, right?
Yes. Now that we're both 30.
Yes.
I should also point out that that's the average age of first marriage. For women is 30, and for men it's 32. And there's a reason for that, because it's between the ages of, say, 18 and 28 is when women tend to like have their party or their hoe phase. That's when the hoe phase comes out. And right around 29, 30, 31, that's when women want to get serious. And then suddenly it's, well, I want to do things the right way.